To all you Kevin Samuels followers acting a fool online, stop it. Just stop it. Go get some help. Coming to Kickstarter this June, John Haynes at Death's Door, the man who rules the world, takes on the Greek god of death in this action-packed all-new John Haynes comic book. Get your copy of the standard and variant editions of John Haynes at Death's Door and lots of other great stretch goal rewards on Kickstarter this June. I was on Facebook Friday night doing book promotion when I saw a dude post on Facebook that he missed Kevin Samuels. Now, I have seen many celebrities and popular people pass away, and I have never seen black men ever participate in the dysfunctional behavior I have seen with the passing of Kevin Samuels. Now, I have grown up and seen many of my heroes and icons pass away, such as Luther Vandross, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Muhammad Ali, and I have never seen people react or respond in the way I have seen black males behave in the passing of Kevin Samuels. I mean, it just really is disturbing to me to see black males going out here and acting, as I see it, effeminate, because no grown man out here is gonna be posting up on Facebook that they miss another dude. I mean, that right there is some suspect behavior as I see it. I don't see any grown man out here going out here posting that he misses another man out here when that man passes away. That right there sounds like something a female would do if she had a boyfriend and that boyfriend or that husband she was really emotionally close to. But when I look at many of these males out here who are supposedly grieving the passing of Kevin Samuels, it's clear many of these individuals clearly didn't have any sort of father in their lives, and many of them are so caught up in identifying with this Kevin Samuels, they are practically deifying and worshiping this man. And as they deify and worship this man, they are putting their dysfunction on display for the entire world to see. Because again, I have never seen any grown man behave this way in my 48 going on 49 years in this world. And again, I have lived through the passing of icons like Michael Jackson. I mean, people grieved Michael Jackson, but you never have heard people in the last 15 to 20 years talking about they miss Michael Jackson. Same thing for Whitney Houston. I mean, you don't hear people talking about, oh, I miss Whitney Houston. They love both Whitney and Michael's music, and their music practically defined a generation of people growing up like myself. But you don't see people talking about, oh, I miss Whitney and Michael on their Facebook posts. No, and you don't definitely see people going out here doing things like talking about how they miss the legendary Muhammad Ali. I mean, Muhammad Ali was an icon of the boxing world. He was an icon as related to black culture. When there's nobody bigger than Muhammad Ali from the, as I see it, from the 60s all the way up into the late 2000s. When you think of one of the all-time greats of boxing, it's Muhammad Ali, but you don't see people getting all bent out of shape to the point where they're going out here and posting on Facebook that they miss Muhammad Ali. I've never seen that after that man passed. And again, Muhammad Ali, Michael Jackson, and Whitney Houston all made major marks on black culture. But you've got black men out here getting emotional and acting dysfunctional over the passing of Kevin Samuels. And this man didn't even get people going to his own funeral. That's what's so mind-boggling to me. I mean, Michael Jackson had a stadium full of people come to see him. Whitney Houston filled an entire church. Muhammad Ali, practically everybody in the world mourned him. And I can even go to the Latin icon Chespirito. I mean, he basically had a stadium in South America and had his entire funeral broadcast on all the Spanish channels. But black men, you'll see them out here going crazy over Kevin Samuels to the point where they're talking about how they miss them. But when they talk about how they miss them, what they're showing is how dysfunctional they are. And it shows how many of these men, again, never had a father in their lives. And because they never had a father in their lives, they never had a man there to teach them how to grieve like a man does. And how a man grieves is he knows how to navigate through his emotions. And when he navigates through his emotions, yes, he feels the hurt of this person being gone, but he understands he has to behave in a way that respects the memory of that person. And the way you act and behave to respect that man who has passed away is by setting an example for other men on how to behave. But when I look at these males out here as they're grieving your Kevin Samuels, they're out here acting really effeminate and really dysfunctional, because only an effeminate man who is somewhat suspect is going to go out here and post something like, I miss another man who has passed away. I mean, the only dude who's doing that is one that has something seriously wrong with him, because no normal man is going to post something up like that, because that's going to just come across as him being somewhat suspect. Now, some of these other guys, they're out here putting tattoos on their bodies of Kevin Samuels, and that also is some really disturbing behavior as I see it. Now, what man is going to put another image of another grown man on their body? That's a critical question I have to ask, because ain't no healthy heterosexual black man going to have markings put on his body of another man unless he is a part of a cult, or he's just something is really wrong with him. I mean, yes, I get that you miss an individual. I guess that you grieving an individual, but this is not the way a man goes out here and behaves. No, healthy grown men do not act like this. And when I look at the members of the high value group, they show me how deeply dysfunctional they really are. I mean, the behaviors they're participating in really are really showing me that there's something wrong with these dudes, because you're sitting here putting tattoos on your body, sitting there talking about how you miss another man, sitting here talking about how this is really affecting your emotions. I mean, these are the behaviors of a female, and here we have grown men who are supposed to be high value men, but these high value men are showing us how they have low self-esteem, and how your Kevin Samuels wasn't a high value man. He basically was a substitute father for these men, and how these men's daddy issues are really affecting them, because they never really had that father in their lives. And because they never had a father in their lives, they have projected all of their daddy issues onto this man. They have made this man into some sort of god that they're going out here worshiping and deifying. And now that the false god is no more, they want to try to continue to make idols to this false god. And as they're making idols to this false god, they are participating in some of the most, as I see it, extremely dysfunctional behavior, and some of the most sinful behavior, because marking your body with tattoos of another man, that, as I see it, is a violation of the laws of the Most High as related to your body being a temple of the Holy Spirit. And it's also putting a man into the place of a God, deifying and putting him up there, violating the first commandment, where you're making this man into a God before you. That's part of the dysfunction right there as related to these guys regarding your Kevin Samuels and this behavior that these males are participating in. It really shows me how these males aren't men, but they're just men in crisis, and these men in crisis really need to get themselves some help because, as I see it, the members of the high value cult are just showing us that, again, they still have extremely low self-esteem. They're still struggling with a lot of unresolved issues as related to their male identity and their manhood. And as the brother of logic and common sense has said in one of his classic videos about, these safe haven guys, that these guys have a masculinity issue, and it's clear to me that they have a serious masculinity issue because these dudes clearly do not understand how men function in the world, and they don't understand how men carry and conduct themselves in the world. You don't see no grown men out here openly expressing emotional statements like they miss another man on social media. You don't see men doing this because this is not masculine behavior. No, this is dysfunctional behavior. Healthy men, they show respect to another man by respecting that man's memory, respecting that man's legacy, and that's not what we're seeing here with your Kevin Samuels. No, in his passing, what we're seeing is a whole host of black males participating in more dysfunctional behavior, and as these males get in their feelings, they act impulsively and really make all black men as a collective look bad, because when you see a grown man talking about missing another man, what that sends is a message to the world that those men are weak. It sends a message to the world that the men in that group are soft, and it sends a message to the world that these men have some sort of suspect behavior, because only a female is going to sit there and say she misses a man, because if that man is her husband or her boyfriend, she has an emotional connection to that man. She has an emotional bond to that man. So she has a right to miss that man because she has an emotional connection to that man, and because that man, she has a spiritual bond to that man. And when that bond ends, that everything changes for her. So she has a right to have that. These males do not. And when you have males forming emotional bonds with what they think a guy is on the internet, it's a real serious problem, because that guy is not who they think it is. They are attaching themselves to an image of a man, and that's where we see the dysfunction as related to these black males. Here they are attaching their emotions to a Kevin Samuels, never knowing this man, never meeting this man, never talking to this man, never going face to face with this man, but they're going to sit there and form such an emotional bond with this man that they practically are falling apart over his passing. That is what is disturbing to me regarding many of the dysfunctional behaviors here. Again, males forming an emotional attachment to the idea of a male, similar to the way some females used to form emotional attachments to entertainers like the late Tupac Shakur. Now, you could understand that with females as related to Tupac Shakur, because Tupac was an image that Hollywood was creating, and the whole thug image was something that women felt attracted to, because it was a social construct created by Madison Avenue and Hollywood. But your Kevin Samuels was not a construct in the sense that created by Madison Avenue in Hollywood. Here was an image of an image consultant. And here, what's dysfunctional is you have males forming emotional bonds with this male because they don't want to deal with their issues with their fathers. I mean, even if men who have fathers in their lives, they understand, look, I have to set a boundary for things. I have to accept that this is a human being. But these guys, they have created an imagined image of Kevin Samuels, and they're so caught up in that image of Kevin Samuels, they cannot really see that the way they're behaving really shows that they have some serious issues they need to work on. And this again is just really disturbing to see grown men going out here and talking about missing another grown man, seeing men going out here and tattooing their bodies, and seeing grown men just getting into histrionics and emotional tantrums over another grown construct idea that a man created. I don't think that they're going out here getting crazy over the actual Kevin Samuels. It is the image he presented, and the image he presented really shows how deeply dysfunctional these males are and how they never had a male figure in their life. They never had a relationship with a male figure and really don't understand, again, the basic rules of manhood and masculinity, because those of us who understand the rules of manhood and masculinity, we understand that yes, death is a part of life, and when people pass, there's a way you carry and conduct yourself, and the way you carry and conduct yourself in another man's passing, again, is you want to show respect to that man. And as a black man, you want to show your respect to someone you grieve, again, in a way that respects that person's memory and also respects the collective and makes the collective look good. Unfortunately, the members of the high value cult, they have not really learned any manhood lessons from their godfather, and as they go out here and act dysfunctional, they go out here and show how dysfunctional they are, and they really tarnish the memory and legacy of the man they say they so-called miss. Now, if you want to learn more about the dysfunctional behavior of males like this, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Man Crisis on Smashwords, the iBook Store, and Google Play. And if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, The Man Crisis. Learn why so many men are struggling to find their way in an increasingly gynocentric world in The Man Crisis. Get your copy of The Man Crisis in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today.